Found the sign.
Go.
So here it is, the start of the Canning Stock route. After nearly 3,500 kilometres from home, we pass through an unassuming gap between the trees, followed by some water-filled wheel ruts. A little down the track, we come across Kalkalong, well 2. There's a little water in the bottom, but I don't know if you'd want to drink it. The windmill-powered water pump that was here no longer functions. We continue on down the track with the terrain varying between soft dirt and hard-packed rock, with a few somewhat interesting hills to tackle. And here, we go in search of Canning's bush table. It's supposedly somewhere around here, but we just can't find it. It's supposed to be some sort of stone plinth, and commonly mistaken for a grave. What we can see though is some red mulga trees that grow in the area. This wood is incredibly hard and well valued for construction of fences and buildings, but it only grows in a very narrow band of latitude across Australia, with the other significant areas of them being around Oodnadatta and Birdsville. But a little further down the track, we come across well 2A, the granites. This well, unusually, is blasted into a hole in solid granite rock, rather than dug into the ground. It's clearly seen better days, but the solid rock has prevented it from collapsing despite the lack of maintenance.
Slight change of schedule, we're not going to stop at 2A today, we're going to go on to 4A.
After reviewing the itinerary, which planned for it to take all day to get to this point, we decided to press on after having lunch. Track conditions vary wildly along here, and no two parts of this are alike. Now I've heard of can building, but this certainly is interesting. There's a few fairly steep dips like this in the area. Combine this with a narrow track that doesn't give you room to tackle them at a more diagonal angle and, well, this can get interesting. We arrived at Wakunpu, well 3, on the border of Cunyu Station. The well has been restored and has some water in it. This marks the beginning of the track to well 4A through Cunyu Station that diverges from the original route of the Canning Stock route, going outside the historical 5-mile wide corridor. There's a few interesting dips in the area, but we soon arrived at well 3A.
A lot of it is inside the well by the looks of it.
This one, unlike some of the preceding wells, has obviously not been rebuilt.
It's not very fading a lot. They're fading very, very quickly. There could be around 10 are moving as you're driving, so we'll see.
The path continues from 3A on a roundabout route to 4A, ascending through Snell's Pass. There was a well 4 somewhere in the vicinity here, but the station has kept no record of its location, and this, along with a number of other historical sites around here, have subsequently been lost. We stopped for our scheduled HF contact on the top of Snell's Pass.
Your antenna. Oh. How long's that been like that? I reckon that just...
Drilling a hole in the number plate to stop the propagation of a crack that started at one of the bolt holes, and cable tying the 4G antenna to the back wheel, we continued on. Did the 4G antenna even still work? It'll be a long time before it's even in range of a phone tower for us to find out. The sun was setting as we arrived at well 4A. This marks the spot where we're now back onto the original path of the Canning stock route. This well was dry, but there's a large cleared spot for camping, so we set up for our first night's camp on the stock route.
So it seems that I discharged this too low for the camera to want to charge it again. So this is a very don't try this at home moment. Hey, we got a solid charging light now.
Oh, sorry.
As soon as we had room in the fuel tank, we lightened the load on the roof racks by emptying another jerry can and consulted the map. The next stop is Windich Springs. According to the sign, it's well 4, but that would put it after 4A and in a different place to the now lost well 4, so I'm not sure about that. There's plenty of water in the springs though, but I'm not sure how drinkable it would be. There's also a small campsite here with tables, a fire pit and one of TrackCare WA's toilets. Moving on from there, we got to a spot where one of our maps showed well 4B, so we went to look for it. Failing to spot anything well-like, we got the drone out. Still no sign of it. It's probably a mistake, as the others don't show it there.
Now surely that's not it.
Right on you.
The actual location of Yepern, well 4B, was found a few kilometres down the track via a short detour. It's completely dry and mostly collapsed, but the bucket remains. The wells 4A and 4B were not built by Canning's party. They were built during Snell's later expedition to recondition the stock route, as he thought 4 and 5 were too far apart. A little way down the track, it was time for a change of traditional owner, and we headed for well 5. Present here is the track to enter and exit the Canning via Granite Peak Station. The well here has been completely and totally restored in 2004, and is in brilliant condition, pulling up some very good looking water. Although it's not insignificant work to do so, as this is the deepest well on the entire stock route at 32 metres deep. Not needing to fill up with any more water yet, we had lunch and headed on. Now often, you can tell another well's coming up, because the kind of spot you'd build one has abundant groundwater, and that's easy to spot due to everything becoming steadily greener as you get closer in. We reached Milyinirri, also known as Pierre Springs, a grove of gum trees in an otherwise sparse desert. After a bit of a look around, we decided to attach the sand flag tenor, as one guide suggests this is the point to do so because the first dune is just to our north. Annoyingly though, despite carefully testing it before we left, the tuning was way out. Inspection showed that it was correct for a lower frequency, so after some experimentation followed by cutting the wire slightly shorter, it once again was a decent match.
Much better.
I suspect after heat shrinking it I'd repositioned the wire at the top. Rusty's is a little simpler, as it's not also an antenna.
You like where I put my Maxtrax pin?
I didn't even know the Maxtrax were there.
The unfortunate thing is the rails that are in my canopy roof just aren't exactly the right spacing, so I can't put them on the other end. So it has to sit on top of the
Oh, you've only got 2 pins.
With plentiful water available here, it's time to get the shower out. The unit features an electrical submersible pump to deliver water out of a bucket, through a gas heater core and out a shower head. But there's an annoying problem with it. The water is barely warm before it shuts off due to over temperature. But maybe we can do something about that. Okay, so maybe don't try this at home. With the temperature cutout switch positioned just after the heating block, in the path of the gas burner exhaust, it massively overreads compared to the actual temperature of the water. It can now produce water hot enough to give you a comfortable shower, but beware that it can now also get hot enough to burn you if you turn it all the way up. From there, it was time to check out the nearby hill with a navigation cairn on it, from which the view is amazing. Then come back to camp for the nightly HF contact.
How warm or cold has it been? Over?
It has actually been way more cold than warm. It's been at around 18 to 22 degrees the whole time, so we've both been wearing hoodies. Michaela's wearing her high-vis jacket.
Kawana says, woo, high-vis. I know the jacket you're talking about. What else? Yeah, no other questions from the chat at the moment. So what's happening at the moment is I'm in the Sked chat on PRG Discord. They're all listening on AREG SDR, and I'm relaying questions through because I appear to be the only person that can actually get out to you on HF. Yep, one question from Spotty Cat is, what's your noise floor? Over?
Let's see. On 20 meters, it's about S5 with the car running. Other than with the car not running, S0.
And catch you again tomorrow. Have a good night and a good drive tomorrow.
Chop up some wood and get the fire going. Perform the self-test on the MSR Guardian filter, then refill the jerry cans and the water tank through it.
To be honest, that's better than the town water.
And then, after dark, fit the TT Artisan 17mm f1.4 lens to the ZFC and take some night photos with it. And that's all for this instalment of our big adventure. There's plenty more to come, so subscribe so you don't miss it, and see you next time.